got to be one of the best automotive designs currently on the market, and not just against other SUVs, I mean outright. It's the latest Defender 110. There's just so many elements that just work together. Like there's nothing here that I would change. I wouldn't, make that a little bit bigger or move that across or move that down. Everything is perfectly consistent with the front and back, the sides. It looks cool. It's got sort of this cartoonish appeal to it, and it does bring in some traditional or Land Rover Defender heritage. It doesn't have the same sort of rugged charm as the original Land Rover Defender, I get that, but obviously the company had to make something modern to appeal to a wider market. And I think this has, well, it is one of the most popular JLR products on sale in Australia. There's a few different variations of the Defender that you can get these days. You can get the 90 short wheelbase, one of the coolest cars on the market, I reckon. The 110, which is like the medium, and then you've got the 130 long wheelbase, perfect if you want to carry around 7 passengers. 3 rows. You can get this with 3 rows of seats as well. This is the 5-seat configuration. There's also plenty of options and trimmings and accessories that you can get. For example, this has got the fully integrated bull bar, and it doesn't interrupt the design of the Defender all that much. Like, it's well integrated. It's got these big spots for the headlights and all that. It is sitting pretty close to the bodywork, but that just means it doesn't look awkward, doesn't stick out, and it doesn't ruin the approach angle either. This example's also got that storage box on the side. We'll go for a drive in a minute, but to me, it does block my visibility out of the side view mirror a little bit. Like if you use your mirrors a lot, you can kind of see the cars behind you if they're within a certain distance of you, but once they're further back, you can see them pretty easily, whereas that does obscure the view a little bit. For example, I probably wouldn't option for that unless I was definitely going to use it, and use it pretty regularly, because it just blocks my view a bit, and I don't like that. But it is an option. You don't have to have that. This has also got the ladder on the side, so you just use the key and that flips out, drops down, so you can climb onto the roof to store your luggage. And then of course there's lots of different luxuries and options you can go through and fully customize this thing. And at first you might think that's ridiculous, the amount of options you can get, but I've spoke to Jaguar Land Rover before, customers as well, and most of the time they actually like it. Like, you don't have to option it, but if you want to customize it, and chances are if you're buying a expensive vehicle, then you've got a bit of money and you want to customize it so it doesn't look the same or doesn't have the same features as the one next door. In this configuration, I think it looks really cool. It's got that black and white theme, although I think that's surely aging a little bit now. Like, you always see Range Rover Sports in black and white. I don't know what the fashion is, but I think it does look cool with the black wheel arches as well. You don't get those on the standard Defender. And then, black side mirrors, roof and all that, window surrounds. As good as the exterior is, I reckon the interior is maybe even better. Like, it's just very well designed, but practical. Like, you've got that big shelf that runs all the way across the dash. I've put my keys in there and, little knickknacks and whatever. Other vehicles just don't have that storage. And then you've got this massive bucket underneath. It's kind of like a floating console. Charging options down there as well. Wireless phone pad just sneaking in there. And a cool box in the middle. This is fully sealed as well. And then up front, excellent driving position. It just feels like an SUV that you want to drive. Like, I don't know what it is, but it just feels good being behind the wheel. You've got nice low window sills, so you can easily see over there, although not as low as some of the older Land Rover Discoveries and so on, and even Range Rovers that used to be like way down here. But you can easily see out of there. I'm pretty short, and I've got excellent visibility. All around the front as well, you've got a bit of a gap between the pillar and the mirror, so I can see there. Nice tall windscreen. And a decent view at the back, but it is obstructed a little bit by the spare tyre and then also the headrest for the rear seats. And up on the dash, we've got this nice curved screen. I like that it's not absolutely massive and just taking over everything, and you still have plenty of physical buttons down here as well. It is a little bit cumbersome changing around, so fan speed, you've got to push the fan speed button and then you can use this. Otherwise, that's just the temperature setting for the passenger. And then same with the drive modes, you've got to hit that first and then you can use this to go through your different drive settings. This example's also got adjustable suspension, so you can lift it up and drop it down when you need to. It's in an automatic mode where Once you get out, it'll drop down a little bit, help you getting out so you don't have to worry about stepping in as much. And then there's plenty of drive mode apps as well. We'll go out and do some off-roading in a minute and attack the hill climb. It has been raining all day yesterday and this morning, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes off-road. This does come with the optional all-terrain tyres, so it should be able to rip through. But as we saw with the Range Rover Sport, which had 22 or 23-inch wheels and road-going tyres, the technology, the four-wheel drive technology here is among the best in the market, I think. It's just so smart, so clever, and it's proactive. Like, it doesn't wait for spin to happen or wheel slip to happen. It's on top of it all the time. But anyway, we'll check it out and we'll go through a few of those modes. And then in the back, we've got good accommodation, climate vents, charging options. There's no climate control for this example, although I think it is an option. A nice flat floor, fully plastic floor as well, so you don't have to worry about getting mucky in the carpet. There's also a nice big panoramic sunroof to help let some light in. You've got these little windows on the side, Alpine windows I think they're called. Just lets a little bit more light in, and it kind of harks back to the original Defender. But yeah, excellent space, excellent visibility. I feel like I've got good view. I don't think the kids would get claustrophobic in here. You can easily see out the window and over the sill. You've got handles on the pillar and on the ceiling for off-roading. Center armrest with cup holders and bottle holders in the doors. One thing you might like, and I noticed this on European vehicles actually, mainly, the backs of the front seats have got this kind of plastic shroud over them. And you might think, oh, that's a little bit low quality. But as you can see, it's got all marks and stuff. Because my son sits here with he's 3.5 or something, and he's got a baby seat, just kicks the back of the seat constantly and, puts his feet up and all that sort of stuff. Doesn't matter how many times you tell him. Telling a 3.5-year-old what to do is always a hard task. But yeah, it just stops the back of the seat getting all mucky. Like if that was leather all the way down, you'd start to rip through it eventually, whereas that's just easy to clean. You don't have to worry too much about it. And then up at the back here, we've got a side swinging tailgate, which is not my cup of tea, because it just means when it's raining, like it is kind of now, you don't get any protection. But it is, it does have some benefits, like in tight car parks and so on. Got some storage along the back there as well. But yeah, nice big boot, 1,075 litres in this 5-seat configuration, and that expands when you pop down the rear seats to almost 2,400 litres. So massive space in here, and I love this kind of checker plate, plastic checker plate backing that's on the back of the seats and joining up with the floor of the boot. So it's almost like a ute. You could put your work tools in here and everything, and you're not going to scuff about on the carpet. This example's got the tyre inflator kit as well, and you can pop down, lower and raise the rear end if you think this is, or if it is too high for you. You've also got a power socket, Australian outlet plug, 230 volts, 180 watts. And yeah, plenty of little hooks and so on to put your things. More up there, little storage nets. Very well thought out, very practical. As I said, I reckon this has got one of the best designs, and I don't just mean looking good, but just fit for purpose and all that, practicality. It just blends everything that you want from a rugged style SUV in 2025. Under the bonnet, this example is the D350, which is probably the best engine configuration in my opinion. It's a 3-litre turbo diesel inline 6, 258 kilowatts and 700 Newton meters. Very nice engine, very smooth. We'll go for a drive in a minute, I'll show you. Plenty of power, plenty of torque. This is a heavy vehicle though, it's about 2.4 tons. So don't expect, lightning acceleration and all that, but it definitely goes very, very well. It's quicker than a Toyota Land Cruiser 300 series, quicker than a Nissan Patrol V8. Just before we set off, can some other manufacturers please pay attention to this part? This is how you deal with the so-called safety systems or safety technologies. Down here we've got a button, that's a car with a circle around it, and you've got 3 different very quick jump to settings that you can select from. So in the low setting, I'll just hold the button down, gives you a bit of a description. lane keep assist is off and speed limit warning is off. So it doesn't go off at me for no reason when I'm just cruising along, and it doesn't pick up the correct speed. That's easily the best solution for this sort of stuff. Still requires multiple presses and all that as per the regulations. But some vehicles, you know, you go in here to turn some systems off, and then you've got a little button over here to turn something else off. Just compile it all together, make it so you just set your profile straight away, and then away you go. So every time I get in this vehicle, just go bang, bang, bang 3 times, go to the lowest setting, and I'm driving. And I can concentrate on the road while I'm doing it as well. I don't have to dive into the screen and look around for all these buttons. I can just keep my head up ahead. I know that button's there, it's always there, bang, 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 and then I'm off. Actually, before we go, I just want to show you something. So I've got the auto brake hold off. So this will hold you on a hill or whatever. There is a noticeable delay when you put your foot down on the throttle. And it doesn't matter how much, I don't mean just flooring it. There's just this kind of delay. And I spoke to Land Rover about it, or Defender about it, and they said that, yeah, there's a software update that's going to change that, but it was initially put in there, it's a software thing. It was put in there to, it's got something to do with fuel efficiency. So they're going to get rid of that. But you'll notice that in the 0 to 100 test coming up, I'll do a brake hold one, bringing the engine revs up on the brake and then letting it go. But also I'll do one just flooring it. And there's a big gap between those 2 different times. And that's because the Vbox starts to count as soon as the vehicle moves a little bit. And I'm talking just slightly rolls back or whatever, it'll start counting. So I hit the throttle, there's a good sort of second delay. Yeah, that was a good, at least sort of a half a second or even a second from when I put my foot down. It's kind of clunky and a little bit annoying, but anyway, they've got a software update they're going to roll out to remove that. It might even be out by now. If you've just bought one of these, chances are it's probably not included in that. This does have some kilometers on it, about 7,000. It's been pretty much all around Australia, this example. Yeah, so that engine, it's very quiet, very smooth. It only just sounds like a diesel at very, very low RPM and when it's cold. Other than that, up and running, 2,000 RPM and beyond, it just sounds like a petrol. It really does. It's got that deep sort of 6-cylinder note to it, or background theme, or tone rather. It's, yeah, a beautiful engine. In terms of the gearbox, I think Jaguar Land Rover has improved its 8-speed. It used to just hunt for the higher gears all the time and too quickly, whereas now it maintains at lower gear if it can, kind of thing. It doesn't just straight away push to the higher gears. But with this offering 700 Newton meters of torque, it doesn't really matter because it just surges through, no worries anyway. Down this twisty section, the handling is nice for this style of vehicle. So this is a rugged SUV, low range, diff, locking diff and all that sort of stuff. This is handling well. There's a little bit of body lean initially, and it kind of just gets to a point and stays there, and I guess you could say that about any car really, but there's just that real sense of that feeling there. So I'll tip it in here, you get some initial, there's a tree sticking out there, you get some initial roll and you think, oh, this is a bit top heavy, but then it just stays there and it actually handles quite nicely. Got to remember they've got V8 versions of this that are pretty quick, so they've obviously designed this chassis to handle lots of power and, yeah, be quite dynamic on the road, on the tarmac. It does have fully independent suspension front and rear, and this has got the air suspension, as I said, so you can lower it down or raise it up. You can't have it on the lowest setting while you're driving on the road. There's sort of an access height, but in the normal setting it feels pretty low. Like, it's not completely body roll everywhere. It's quite nice. You can actually raise it up as well, and it feels kind of the same, but that's the beauty of air suspension. It doesn't really matter how extended it is. It can have this you know, a similar sort of rate, unlike springs and dampers. Down through here, we've got excellent ride quality. It feels just a tiny bit sporty, but easily capable of soaking up big bumps and so on and not sending them through to the cabin. Not sure if you can hear that, but there's lots of creaks and rattles in here. But yeah, the doors and the windows creak and yeah, squeak about. I don't know what that is, if it's got to do with torsional rigidity or anything like that, or if it's just that the seals are very rubbery and kind of, when they move around a little bit, which they would in pretty much all vehicles, I guess. I'm talking tiny microscopic levels, and it just makes a bit of a squeak. But yeah, I can't stand rattles and so on. It's no rattles, it's just the doors. Yeah, they seem to be like rubbing up against the door jamb. Around here, it's got decent grip. Give it some power. Yeah, look at that. That's climbing through the gears very easily, and I like the ratios as well. They're actually pretty close together. Just, it's like it just keeps going. Probably because of that monstrous torque just pulling the next gear through as well. But this will be geared for off-roading, you got to keep in mind. So throw it in here. This has got all-terrain tyres too, and it is a little bit wet. Handle's fine, grip's fine. You certainly wouldn't be able to do this in most hardcore off-roaders, that's for sure. So yeah, happily take this for a nice drive down a winding road. Don't feel uncomfortable, or the vehicle doesn't feel uncomfortable. In terms of fuel economy, I'm averaging 10 litres per 100, but I've already done performance testing, so you'd probably expect lower than that. The official rating is 8.1 litres per 100, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, very good economy, considering the level of performance you're getting and the power and torque that you're getting. So even if it is quite heavy, you've got power and torque, so you can get up hills and so on. You can load it up with passengers. It's not really going to make a big difference. That's where extra power and torque comes in handy, or if you're towing. Although the towing rating of this doesn't weigh up the best, because the GVM is 3.2 tons and this weighs 2.4, so already you can see you're not left with much left over by the time you factor in tow ball download and all of that. I think if I was looking to do lots of heavy towing, like 3 tons and beyond, then I would probably pick something like a Land Cruiser or a Nissan Patrol. Other than that though, this is far ahead in terms of refinement, powertrain, practicality and all that. And now let's check out the off-road performance to see if it keeps up or exceeds those as well. Okay, the hill climb. So this is, I've said it before, I'll say it again, very steep. It's about 30 degrees according to some onboard telemetry from other vehicles. It's got some moguls and potholes and stuff in it. It really puts a lot of pressure under the traction management system, the available traction and suspension flexibility. Today it is wet. It's been raining all day yesterday, so it's going to be very slippery. I'm going to throw everything that this vehicle has at it. In standard mode, you've got this, I'm in the standard mode at the moment, just comfort, whatever. You've got this page here where you can see your dimensions, and they actually change according to where you've got the suspension and all that. So even in the standard default suspension, 37 degree departure angle, 30 degree approach angle, 22 degree breakover angle. They're very good figures for a four-wheel drive, luxury SUV. And then if we raise the suspension to the off-road height, you'll see these figures actually change, which is quite cool. Doesn't take too long. And now we've got 40 degree departure angle, 37.5 degree approach angle, and 27.8 degree breakover angle. They're among the best figures for any factory SUV. Like really the Jeep Wrangler is probably the main sort of, main rival in terms of figures like that. And I know I said before, Toyota Land Cruiser and Nissan Patrol. This is actually in the same class as like a Toyota Prado, but the premium version of that class. So BMW X5 and all of that. But for the price, like this starts from around $110,000, or I think the MY26 is about $114,000, plus options and so on. You're getting in the territory of a pretty high spec Toyota Land Cruiser and easily a Nissan Patrol. But yeah, I consider those two to be pretty much the most hardcore 7-seat style SUVs that money can buy. We'll try, we'll put it in the mud ruts mode, and then we'll hit low range. You got to be in neutral for that. Low range. Go with the suspension in the off-road height. The center and rear diff lock have engaged, and we'll just ease it up. I might put it into the S1 mode. Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going.
Yeah, it's just too slippery. Even with these all-terrain tyres, it's struggling a bit. Give it a bit more power. Actually, we'll try a different mode. Let's try rock crawl and just see how that goes. Got the stability light or traction control light flashing. It's spinning the wheels. Two front wheels are spinning. Why are they all, unless they're all spinning? We'll try this activate low traction launch and see if it will help us get up. Gradually apply the pedal until the vehicle moves from rest. That's about half throttle. It's trying. It's just too slippery, I think. I'll try that again. It's about half throttle. That's full throttle. And it's just spinning the wheels too much. So I'm gonna have to go down and take a slightly different line and see how we go. Okay, we've got both diffs locked. And it's really weird because the Range Rover Sport drove up here and it felt like the traction management systems were more on top of it, even though this would have a very similar system. We've just got all four wheels spinning. Okay, we eventually got there, but that was super slippery trying to get up there. It's kind of like a clay surface now, as you can see. It's yeah, I don't think many vehicles would go up that unless you've got super chunky or even studded tires, because that's just spinning the wheels. I think I can go up this left-hand side section okay. I'm just worried when I reach here, is it going to slide all the way over the other side? Just before we go up that other side there, I'll take it up the road and get some of the mud out of the tires, because it's just pretty much a slick surface on the tires now. All that clay has gone into the grooves and so on, and we're not going to get much traction out of that. But down here we can test out the suspension range or suspension flex. There's a big steep section on the right hand side. I've still got the vehicle in the highest setting. It drops down here on the right, and then it will cause the back left to lift up, but also this back right to really compress. Hey, look at that sliding down. But that's pretty cool. It's like a live animation. You can see this wheel is, the right hand rear is really compressed, and that's almost topped out. But it is actually staying on the ground, it feels like, which is pretty good. Most, well, certainly utes that are, you know, long and all that sort of thing with live axle rear ends, they pop the rear wheel, left hand rear wheel, right up in the air. So for this side, I'm going to try the automatic mode. You've got a setting just here, auto terrain response selected. So this will automatically figure out what it needs. I might have had it in that mode in the Range Rover Sport that seemed to go up here a lot easier, but I mean, it could be completely different conditions today. As I said, it's been raining all day yesterday, and it just feels like there's this thick layer of clay along the whole, the top of the whole lot. So we'll try auto mode. It looks like the diffs have locked themselves automatically, or they're preparing to lock. just leave it in D. The suspension is still raised all the way up, so no low range as well for this time. And I'll just see how it does. Nice and easy. Definitely got plenty of clearance there. And yeah, that's gone up nicely. So auto mode might actually be better than the mud ruts mode. I could give that a go up the main section again and just see. All right, auto mode, high range, or just, yeah, whatever it wants to figure out. See how we go. Yeah, right, so that's done very well actually in the auto mode. Low range has actually maybe caused too much torque and too much sort of initial wheel spin, whereas when you've got the higher gearing, as in longer gearing, it's just, you know, not instantly kicking wheel spin. It's just, yeah, I don't know, but it's working a lot better in the auto mode. There we go. Well, it got up there eventually, and it's interesting that it did it best, well, in my opinion and in my experience, it did it best in the auto mode, the auto terrain response. So it can figure out what it needs the most for any given situation. I may have used that mode in the Range Rover Sport that also went up pretty easily actually in the wet. But as I said, it's been raining all day yesterday. The ground is the wettest I've seen it. Even walking up, getting some photos and so on, I almost slipped over a number of times and my foot was dropping in, like pushing into the surface more so than I thought. Like I thought most of it was pretty hard packed, but down the bottom over there, I was, yeah, stepping on what looked to be hard packed and my foot actually sunk in a bit. So that's not usually the case, even when it has been raining a little bit. I think there's just been so much water that, yes, it's turning the, at least this top section into full clay. Like, look at that, it's just completely slippery. Overall though, outstanding off-road package for a factory 7-seat capable vehicle, large SUV, whatever you want to call it. Definitely one of the best off-roaders money can buy. It would be interesting to get some competitors here today in these conditions and just see how they shaped up. But yeah, looks like the auto mode handled it best. I'm not the best off-roader, so I mean, I've done a lot of this lately, but yeah, at the end of the day, the car's brains are able to determine what it needs most, where the traction is and isn't, and yeah, apply different technologies accordingly. All right, let's head out now and do the performance test and see what it goes like.